Happy birthday to us. Hello and welcome to The Red Menace. We're a comedy news podcast bringing you the latest and greatest stories from across the universe. It's been one year. I'm not sure how to feel about that, but this is episode 52.
We have skipped some weeks, though.
That's true.
But it's 1 year worth of episodes.
It's
so
1 year
that's
worth
still 1 year.
We've skipped 1 week, but we also had 2 episodes when we started. So I think it does actually equal out to about a year.
That's true.
I think this is our birthday and or anniversary. And I don't know how to feel about this situation. I thought we'd be more successful by now. Secondly.
Yeah, we should have at least 2 billion followers at this point. Yeah. That's how it works. You make content and you immediately get 2 billion followers.
Whereas we have you take some of the zeros off that. I'm not going to say how many, but it's most of them. And most of the zeros off that. I will, however, say...
All of the zeros. We've got 2 listeners and both of them are recording this podcast.
I don't listen to this podcast.
So we've got... Well, I don't either, really. So that's 0 listeners.
Okay. I have something to start off that's happened to me recently that's been interesting. And this is quite
exciting.
This is in no way related to our podcast birthday, but we will get onto that.
Well, I'm intrigued because you did set this up before and now I'm very keen for this. So you better not disappoint me.
So a little bit of backstory. Probably about a year ago, actually. I signed a number of my friends and colleagues and anyone who was in my address book up to an emailing list for... The website is called Cat Fairies, spelled Faeries. And what they do is
because they're real fairies. They're not this Tinkerbell shit.
They sell... they sell cat crystals and they sell, oils, essential oils for your cat.
Yeah, everything your cat needs, right?
Yeah, everything your cat could need for spiritual cleansing. All my friends have that information. Some of them willingly gave me their email addresses, even when I was being very menacing about what I was going to use it for.
They were just like, oh, okay.
But I think the reckoning has arrived. And I've recently received a number of emails from 2 different websites, both of which are interesting in their own special way.
Okay.
The first one is ChristianMingle.com.
Oh, yeah, boy.
So...
Did you make an account on Christian Mingle?
I'm going to run you through the series of events.
Okay, I really want to know this.
On Thursday... I get an email from Christian Mingle found in my Gmail account, and it is my proper Gmail address that someone has entered. And it says, "Congratulations on joining Christian Mingle and joining other Christian singles looking to find a loving, God-centered relationship built on mutual faith and love."
God-centered?
Yeah.
Or God-centered as in it smells like God, or God-centered as in it centers around God?
I like to think, firstly, that everything smells like God, but the second one.
Yeah, I did hear it as the first one immediately. But that's probably because of our Australian pronunciation. They're indistinguishable as words.
God-centered.
If you're American,
centered.
It's like centered. But, centered. But unfortunately, we're Australians, so we just say centered.
Yeah, we don't say the letter R is the thing.
Yeah.
It's just not in our vocabulary.
So you want to find a lover that smells like God is basically what I'm getting. So can you continue with what the email is selling?
So the email has suggested that I do a few things. I polish my profile. Yeah. I refine my preferences. And I make a connection.
Right.
So I just assumed that I was getting an interesting spam email. I was like, okay, I kind of discounted this. So then I received another email from a guy named Mike Janung, and it says, "Important, confirm your subscription to, this is called Sweet G Colorado Springs in Colorado." And it doesn't have any more information on that, but it was at around the same time, so I was suspicious.
Sweet G.
more information will become apparent about this soon.
Yeah, I am quite curious.
So there's in fact 2 concurrent scams going on.
Right.
So I then received a follow-up email from Christian Mingle. So I had deleted the original email, which I've gone and fished out of my email bin for this. It says, "Rejected about me. Please resubmit your Christian Mingle summary."
I'm sorry?
The summary you recently added to your Christian Mingle profile was rejected. Rejected, you ask? In order to ensure the quality of our profiles and protect Christian Mingle members, all profile summaries are screened to make sure there's nothing inappropriate or suspicious.
Why?
They have not now told me what it was.
Yeah, I'm quite curious.
So at this stage, I still don't know. Then I get another email. This one is from the Thomas Aquinas Psychological Clinic. Dear Christopher, thank you for visiting the website of the late Dr. Joseph Nicolosi Sr. Your inquiry has been referred to the Breakthrough Clinic, which is the private practice of Dr. Joseph Nicolosi Sr.
Okay, who is this guy?
So I'll explain that to you in a minute. But first I want to read out to you what this message sent to them was.
Okay.
From Christopher Bolson at gmail.com. I guess everyone knows my email address now.
It's
Maybe
like,
I'll bleep that.
they are using your official email. And I think that's quite funny.
This is my email address that they're using, and they're using my full name. So the subject line of this inquiry is, help. The message is, I'm gay, but I don't want to ruin my relationship with my girlfriend. I need help, please. So I then just clicked on the link at the bottom here, and it turns out that Joseph Nicolosi is he does gay therapy, or offering psychological services to men and women whose same-sex attraction doesn't define them. So it's not...
It's not an ideal doctor.
Can I just describe this website to you? So there's a picture of someone kayaking. I quite like kayaking, so this immediately jumped out at me.
Kayaking is quite a good activity.
Kayaking into a sunset. It
says... So it's a good clinic, basically, is the picture is telling you that.
And then on top of that, in big courier print, if gay doesn't define you, you don't have to be gay. So... So I've been referred to conversion therapy, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
So I then waited a bit, and then today I received a message from Christian Mingle again, saying, wow, look at you, someone's checking you out. And I was interested to find out that it was Graham that was checking me out on Christian Mingle. Because Graham, because I wouldn't have expected that on Christian Mingle. I didn't think they'd be cool about it.
No, I would think that they would be quite, rigid.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go to Christian Mingle. I have reset my password on Christian Mingle.
So that only you can log into your Christian Mingle account. Now,
here's the really tragic thing. Christian Mingle is currently experiencing server problems.
Well, that's quite sad.
It is quite sad. Now,
except you're not going to know about Graham.
I don't think I'm going to be able to know about Graham. I might have to report back on this to everyone next week. But I'm very curious about who has done this to me.
This is not ideal.
Because there's a really interesting cross-section of people here, which is a combination of wants to fuck with me personally, wants to fuck with me in a way that's specifically about calling me gay. And, I don't think I'm fairly public about being bi, so I don't get why someone would...
Find this as a particular, hardcore own.
Yeah, so it's this odd mixture of ignorance and vindictiveness. I asked all of my friends if they'd done it, and they all said no. Which...
And I feel like your friends would own up to it, because it would be quite funny if they thought it was funny.
I have a hunch... And I have no way of backing this up, but I have some circumstantial evidence that this might be the actions of a certain ex-partner of mine who will not be named for obvious reasons. And I'm not going to say much, just that this ex-partner I know because I watched it happen, once stole a road sign with her ex-boyfriend's name on it and then took it off the side of the road specifically to leave on his doorstep as a funny prank.
Yeah, it's really not ideal activity.
No,
that's happening.
I'm not saying this person has done it. I'm just saying it would be on brand.
It would be quite on brand. And I feel like that kind of behaviour is quite on brand for that kind of person.
Exactly. So that's my...
But I want to know about Graham. Like, is he a nice guy? I mean, maybe...
I don't mean this in a rude way, but he's not my type, just based on his picture and also on the fact that he's on ChristianMingle.com.
I feel like ChristianMingle.com is immediately kind of like an alarm bell, is there?
It's a turn-off for me, unfortunately. Also, their website is very poorly designed, and it looks like it looks like it's made from like an Amazon template, and their website is broken. Also, the conversion therapy guy runs a Squarespace. What the fuck, Squarespace? Could you not?
He runs Squarespace, or runs with Squarespace?
His account is on a Squarespace
website. Right. I thought he was like, this guy is like, who's doing conversion therapy is also like the CEO of Squarespace or something? No,
if that was a thing,
that would be quite alarming.
Then I'd have to change our website, and I don't want to do that.
See, if that was the thing, that could be a cool story that you could like sell to the papers, that the CEO of Squarespace runs a conversion therapy website. That might be like it's not a nice story, but it's certainly an important one.
If Christian Mingle is having network trouble, do you think that means like their prayers aren't going through?
Maybe there's too many prayers that are backlogging the server.
They have an Instagram page.
Do they really?
Yeah, I'm just going to take a quick squiz at this.
Take a quick squiz. Well, I'm excited to hear all about Graham and any other potential matches you've got waiting for you on Christian Mingle.
I'm pretty excited, and I will report back to you about the love that I find on Christian Mingle. There is a lot of couples on here. The vast majority of them are white. Shocker. There's a lot of dogs.
Yeah. Okay, dogs are good.
They're exclusively heterosexual, obviously.
Except for Graham. Graham's been waiting this whole time on Christian Mingle alone to find a male match, and... you're letting him down, Chris. You're letting him down.
My worry is that a female profile has been set up in my name, and they've just used my effeminate features as a front for, say, Christine Bolson or something like that.
Well, who knows?
Who knows? But either way, I'll report back on how my Christian Mingle adventures go.
Do you want quite interesting.
Do we want to do podcast?
Yeah, let's do some real podcast, hey?
Okay. It's our 1 year anniversary, so I've actually done some effort and found some stories for once.
I
hear you've done something similar.
Well, I too did some effort and found some stories for once. But this one kind of... the first story that I've got kind of leads into like a big viral story that has been going around recently about the storming Area 51. So that's not actually the story, because I'm going back to our roots, small town. But to understand this story, we need to understand the storming Area 51 Facebook event that went viral.
One of my colleagues' friends set up a Area 51's too far away, let's storm the Sutherland RSL Facebook event. And it got like 2,000 likes in like half an hour. It was insane.
Well, see, this is quite a similar tact that's happening here. But for those who don't know, who somehow have been avoiding this, is that someone set up a Facebook event, storm Area 51. Area 51 is the place in America that may or may not have aliens. Probably not, but I
think there was an Area 51 thing on Netflix, and that's why everyone's obsessed with it all of a sudden.
Yeah, I don't know, because I've always been quite, like, obsessed with Area 51 in, like, a funny way.
Okay,
but then it suddenly became, like, it's become, like, a meme.
Yes,
now.
And I did not know the origin of it until said coworker told me that there was a Netflix thing, and I was like,
no, I didn't know that until just now, so I've learned something.
That makes a lot of sense.
So
We're
of course
so out of the loop, Alice.
Yeah, well, this is inspired a lot of spin-off events that have been put up,
Yes.
like the one that you mentioned. This one is mentioned in The Advocate, which I guess is a Tasmanian newspaper, just from the fact that there's a Tasmania in the logo.
Oh, I think that's the Hobart Advocate. I think
Okay.
that they just don't call it that for some reason.
No, it's just The Advocate, the one and only. So the Hobart Advocate, let's go with that one. I'm sure that's right. And this is by Lachlan Bennett. And the headline goes, viral Facebook event, stormed the wood chip pile, cancelled after intervention by Tasmanian police.
Oh, that's so fucking homegrown farm town. That's some good shit.
Storm the wood chip pile. First of all, I do like the concept that this town's main feature is a wood chip pile. That's very Tasmania, I think.
It's I love country shit so much.
Country shit. That's why we started this, right? We started this for the country shit. We got off the
Yeah.
rails a little bit, but for our 1 year, I'm back to the country shit.
We're going back to our roots, both podcastly and childhoodly.
Exactly.
When you're in the city and people are like, oh, do you want to go out to the bar or do you want to go to the aquarium? And I'm like, nah, I just want to go out to the pine forest with a bunch of stolen booze and set something on fire. Is that so much to ask?
Yeah, the other thing is, though, in Sydney, if you say, do you want to go out to the bar, you have to say, sure, which bar? But, in a small town, do you want to go out to the bar? And you know exactly what they're talking about because there's only one that's worth going to. The rest are,
that's incorrect
non-existent.
because Armidale has, 7 pubs. It's
because you go to university
ridiculous.
there.
Yeah, that's the only reason. Armidale's main feature is universities and sheer number of pubs pretty consistent.
And a certain
quality,
guy
honestly.
who wears a hat, Barnaby Joyce. That's the other main feature.
He wasn't there when I was there, so I still choose to remember it in my
Okay.
hazy glory days.
Yeah, before Barnaby Joyce. BC, so we can say BBJ.
Before BJ. That's great.
BJ. So let's get into this storm the wood chip pile. By the way, the picture that's attached is a very small town newspaper. We've got the mentioned wood chip pile in the background, and there's a very serious looking police sergeant frowning with his arms crossed in front of the wood chip pile.
It says, you will not all come to this wood chip pile. This is our sacred white people site, and it will not be...
Exactly. It's like Uluru, which... rightfully so, they're banning climbing. This is a sacred site for Hobart, this wood chip pile for the white people in Hobart.
Ban climbing the wood chip pile.
Exactly.
That guy doesn't understand just how much nasty shit has happened on or around that wood chip pile throughout history.
No, and you know what? I didn't know about this wood chip pile, but it does look like a very fun wood chip pile to just, do whatever you want to do in that wood chip pile.
It has already been tainted. There is no coming back from it.
Well, the guy, I'm sure, Senior Sergeant Tony Stewart, he's probably had a bit of fun in the wood chip pile in his time.
I think all I'm saying is that every drug, drink, or bodily fluid is in that wood chip pile
at
somewhere.
some place.
You
You
know?
can't just have a giant wood chip pile that isn't full of bodily fluids and various
It's ridiculous.
types of other
God, that'd be so
liquids.
unhygienic.
The wood chips would soak it up. It's okay.
Oh, yeah, that's not what I... Yeah,
I'm
dry.
gonna go further into
it'd be
this.
all dry. How fun is that?
The viral joke event, Storm the Wood Chip Pile, has been removed from Facebook after intervention from Tasmania Police. Event creator Alex Harmon said he cancelled the event after he was called to the Burnie police station on Tuesday.
After he got swatted because he wanted to storm the wood chip pile, the SWAT team stormed his house.
Basically, Tasmania Police were getting quite concerned about the situation, the 17-year-old said. I'm quite sad the event was taken down, but in retrospect, I see no issue with it. If they were having a problem with it, I would just go out of my way to do what they want. It's very, a 17-year-old logic there, but also... he's kind of right because now this is on the news and now people are going to be like, hey, let's go play in the wood chip pile that was on the news.
I want to go to Tasmania just to see this wood chip pile that I've heard so much about.
It's a very good wood chip pile. There's a lot of wood chips in it. It's quite high. It's like a bigger pile than you're imagining.
Oh, really? Because I'm imagining one about the size of my desk.
It's very high pile. It's bigger than a truck. There's a truck driving in the pile of wood chips.
Okay, so it's a real wood chip pile then.
It's a real pile. It's like a mountain.
Oh, shit. Okay, yeah, I would definitely want to party on that.
Now, for this to be getting the police's attention, how many people do you think had clicked attending to this?
100,000.
Take a couple of zeros off that, Chris.
Oh my god, really?
Storm the wood chip pile attracted more than 1,000 responses from people who were interested.
That's
and 500
nothing.
who indicated that they would do it.
Wait, only half of those people will actually show up.
Yeah, exactly. So about 250 people. There's plenty of room in this wood
Just
chip
like
pile.
my birthday.
It's not a small wood chip pile. There's no OH&S issues. You know, there's plenty of space for them to swim around.
You could fit 1,000 people in that wood chip pile if it's as big as you're saying it is. I see no issue here.
You could. I think you could fit 10,000 people in this wood chip pile because it's quite large.
Hang on, fucking nanny state. Just let us have the wood chip pile, guys.
Let us play in the wood chip pile. So, of course, you know, when you say to a teenager you can't do something, it just makes them want to do it more.
It makes me want to do it more, I get it.
Well, I kind of want to play in the wood chip pile now. But this has inspired some similar events called Storm the Ulverstone Clock Tower. They can't stop a soul. And the next one, this is my favourite one, safe and legally approach the wood chip pile.
Approach the wood chip pile with our white flags raised.
With our arms up, you know, ready to be arrested. So Alex said the event was and always had been a joke, similar to the American Storm Area 51 event that attracted more than 500,000 RSVPs. It wasn't ever to be taken seriously, he said, but I think that's just to protect himself, if I'm honest.
Oh yeah, he definitely wanted to fuck up that wood chip pile. And like, I get it. How cool would it be watching it collapse? It'd be incredible.
So it goes on a little bit to talk about, you know, about this event. And it said Bernie Division Inspector Adrian Shadbolt said while the event may have been created and intended as a joke, the content had serious ramifications and it was encouraging others to break the law, Chris.
How are they breaking the law? Is this like a radioactive wood chip pile? I don't understand what's dangerous about it.
It's a lot of wood chips. It's like there's 3 trucks in this next picture of the wood chips driving on top of the wood chips.
No one's ever been killed by wood chips. I'm failing to comprehend the danger here.
It's trespass. It's terrible. While this specific event has been deleted, I encourage people to be mindful that the action it promoted is illegal and not to participate. Police will have resources where the event was planned, which diverts resources from policing activities to keep the community safe.
Oh, God damn it. So the cops now just are going to have a big wood chip party.
Yeah, the cops are going to be playing in the wood chip pile. See, this is why they don't want... This is why they don't want that kid and his friends there, because this is the regular police hangout spot.
Because it would reveal that's where their cool club is. That's where they keep
their cool clubhouse. They got
that's where they keep their Beyblades and all of their Mountain Dew.
They've got like a cool little shed that says no girls allowed, and inside it's got a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh cards and Beyblades, and definitely Mountain Dew too.
Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Mountain Dew, and a shooting range. It's a weird aesthetic in there.
And they also found like like a Playboy magazine in one of their uncle's trash, and that's in there too. They don't want the kids to find their stash, you know.
No, they read the Playboy for the articles though.
Yeah, exactly. It's for the articles. And that's about all there is to it.
Okay.
This is my favourite bit though, when the police is talking more about this, when Senior Sergeant Stewart is making his quote. See, when you get a group together, anything can happen, he said. We wouldn't want to see these events turn out to be something where someone does something wrong, something illegal, or gets injured.
That sounds like a threat.
Senior Sergeant Stewart will be deployed to the port of Burnie on Saturday and was not sure what would happen. Let's hope it rains and gets windy so no one turns up and we can go home.
Has he never met teenagers before?
I feel like the fact it's raining would probably make the wood chip pile more fun.
Right? Imagine how just like wet and nasty that would be. It'd be so good. It'd be like a big woody water slide.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be great.
A big mud party. Oh, that'd be great fun.
Now, good news is that Alex has since created a private Facebook group called Storm the Woodchip Pile version 2. And he says it's purely a space to share memes, but you know what? If they want to go out and storm some woodchip piles, go right ahead.
Can I,
Tell me a story, Chris.
In the spirit of going back to our roots, my first story is from the greatest paper in the world, the Otago Daily Times.
Oh, Otago Daily Times. It's been a while, but I'm glad we're back to it.
Today I looked through a lot of the old mainstay papers, and I've got to say, as an experience, it was fucking miserable. Like
it's quite a grim experience.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what's even more grim, Chris. The fact that what used to be the Fairfax Regional Facebook page has turned into a Facebook page called Voices of Real Australia.
And
that shares the community news. And it's like, I don't want to read Voices of Real Australia.
I don't want to read
Voices of Real Australia.
Of Real Australia. And also, that's a worse name than Daddy's News, the URL of which they can have if they just ask.
Yeah, so, if they just ask kindly.
Everyone visit daddysnews.com.
Give it some hits.
Give it some hits. I ended up going back to my old favourite, Otago, just because the Australian ones made me so fucking miserable. Facebook Fun takes satirical aim at DCC. A fake Facebook page satirising the Dunedin City Council has the real council in a spin.
Okay, this is good.
The fake page called Dunedin City Council, DCC, was created on Monday and has since posted a series of comments and photos. The posts included one about Baldwin Street losing its status as the world's steepest street, in which the fake council announced the official decision has promptly been made to begin roadworks. This is a little side story. Have you heard about this? Have you heard about this particular thing, the world's steepest street thing?
The world's steepest street, yeah. And I did see some Irish people getting a little bit angry.
Yeah, so New Zealand no longer has the world's steepest street, and it's really sad.
That's quite a controversial, sad thing to happen, yeah.
It is. Although apparently the people who live on the street say it's good because there was lots of people who would just come and take photos in their windows.
But I feel like photos don't really show off how steep something is. I've tried to take a lot of photos of steep things and it just kind of looks like a road.
No, I get that. I've looked at photos of the world's steepest street and my whole thought is like, that doesn't look that hard.
I could run that.
I could run that.
No worries.
I'd get a third of the way up and kill myself, but anyway.
Yeah, sure.
Baldwin Street will have its angle increased by 3 degrees in order to reclaim its title as the steepest street in New Zealand.
Why?
Well, no, it's a joke, Alison.
Okay, good.
So this is a fake Facebook page. I'm just going to go and I'm going to get the Facebook page up because some of their posts are actually quite funny.
Okay, great.
Give me 1 sec to just search for it. Dunedin City Council, DCC, found it. Okay. So just a sampling. Do you hate people? Do you have no friends or family? Do you have residual anger from no one wanting to take you to the ball? Does making people pay ridiculous fines give you a raging erection? Applications are open now for a position as a parking enforcement officer.
Oh dear.
Comment your suggestions for ways we can make Dunedin a shittier place.
Sure.
My personal favourite one, I can't believe uni students actually think they have a say in our decisions. They're the same cunts who think that climate change is actually real, so of course we're not going to fucking listen to those uneducated fuckwits. Because that one strikes very close to home.
It does strike very close to home. It's a little bit too real.
There's another one that's just, fuck me, who's in with some cheap grams are now?
What?
What I like about this is, you know how Facebook pages for everything is always controlled by some intern?
Yeah.
This to me is the logical endpoint of that, where it just becomes that intern's like kind of bogany Twitter feed, where
of course.
he's just like, who can score me some coke?
That's probably what like every small town council's page would be like in a few years' time.
Exactly. By late yesterday, the post had attracted more than 100 comments, while the page itself had close to 1,000 followers. Which isn't a huge number, but it's more traction than we have, so who's to judge?
Well, that's a pretty... Yeah.
Yeah. But followed by one post offered some cheap grams to followers, followed by a subsequent response to a comment advising the person to message our Facebook page, and one of our employees will kindly get back to you within the next 5 working days. Kind regards, DCC. Council Services General Manager Sandy Graham, the real one, yesterday said council staff were aware of the page and had contacted Facebook asking for it to be removed. Well,
I don't think that's how it works.
no. While there's no harm in a bit of satire, some of the recent posts are offensive. Our broader concern is that it could be confusing for people, particularly in the lead up to the local body elections. And then there's one final bit, and this is a comment on the page itself. The guy says, apparently this real DCC is trying to get this page taken down. This is the real DCC, you fuckwits. I really like this website, and it does then link to the Dunedin Council website in the About section, and it's registered as a government organisation. It's a good...
It's a good bit, you know. Linking to the actual council's page.
And then there's some reviews that people have submitted to it. So this is like the Boomers Facebook page. People are getting into character, and I really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, that's really good.
So 11 hours ago, someone posted, didn't pay my parking tickets from 4 years ago, and they still haven't had me up for it. Another one. I came to Dunedin City Council, DCC, with a broken shoe. They took 3 months to fix it and charged me $1,000. A committee was formed, several meetings were held at various local cafes around town, and they decided because it was a wee bit costly, I was offered 2 low-mileage X-Fleet cars really cheap. I paid cash and bought both. The shoe broke on the way out the door. This town could really do with much more congestion and far less available parking. Atrocious. My family and I enjoyed the vegan satay chicken from the kids' menu, but we later saw the chef preparing a white bread and cheese sandwich for another customer from the secret menu. This made me very angry, spelled A-N-G-E-R-Y, so we decided to leave. 5 stars, A+ trader, fast shipping and handling. This is the best shit.
For, like, the council?
Yeah. So I'm going to keep
great.
following this Facebook page because it's brought me much joy.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of good content on there.
Do you have another story for me, Alison?
Chris, while we're in Otago, I actually have a story from Otago Daily Times.
Fuck yes.
And
It's come
probably a
full
story-
circle.
It's probably a story that you're familiar with, because this story has gone quite viral this week. And it is a crime story about delinquents, which I feel like is, you know,
That's our
Otago
bread and
Daily
butter.
Times, crime story, and animals. Because this is some animal crime.
Holy shit, this couldn't be more on brand for us if we tried.
So, this story was from this week. The headline goes, Penguins ignore cops, return to sushi shop.
Fuck. Firstly, I havenly heard this. Secondly,
You haven't heard this story?
no, my boss tells me that I'm not allowed to look at Twitter during the day at work anymore, so I haven't been
Okay.
following the news as much as
Well,
normal.
look, in my current job, which isn't teaching anymore, I can basically look at Twitter all day because that's part of what I do, I suppose, in some regards. But anyway, I'm so glad you haven't heard this story because, Chris, it's the best story I've ever read in my
I'm
life.
extremely hyped.
I actually originally read this on The Guardian, but then I thought when I was, you know, reading it on The Guardian, I'm like, well, why not go to the best newspaper in the world to see their coverage?
To the source. Get the real lowdown, hometown shit.
Well, it was originally published on Radio New Zealand, not Otago Daily Times, but, you know...
That's irrelevant. I'll edit that out. That's fine.
Respect to the greatest newspaper in the world. I'm using their coverage of this great story. So, let's get into it. Department of Conservation Rangers are on high alert for penguin call-outs after they've been spotted waddling around Wellington. Yesterday, the little blue penguins had to be removed from under a sushi store near the Wellington railway station, not once, but twice. I like these little guys. The
They're so
the two little penguins showed a complete disregard for police authority after being removed from under a food truck and promptly returning later in the day. Yeah, these penguins say, fuck the police. These penguins don't need to listen to the man, Chris, because they're penguins.
Well, they'd left their pills in the brick behind the wall, so they had to go back
They
and
had
get
to go
them.
back and get it, because if the police found that later, they'd be in even bigger trouble.
They'd be in really bad trouble.
The pair were then put under citizen's arrest by the store owner, who captured them, locked them up, and waited for the Department of Conservation. What a narc. Just let them play. Let
them play.
They just want to eat some fish.
Fun. Well, you can't make a sushi restaurant and not expect penguins to come for it. It's a fish-based food.
It's a raw fish-based food, and penguins, in fact, live on raw fish.
It's a smelly food that is designed to attract penguins. What do you think they eat down in the South Pole?
Now, this is the real harsh thing about this.
Why do you think their feet are like that? It's for rolling the seaweed.
It's for getting like that rice nice and sticky and then rolling it up. Actually, you know the ice cap in Antarctica, which is the prime home of penguins, is actually just made of sushi rice. It's not actually ice.
It's really unpleasant to walk
it's
on.
Really sticky sushi rice.
Your shoes get ruined anytime you go to Antarctica.
For the rest of the week, you'll have little bits of rice stuck to the bottom of your foot that you can't really get off, and you try and peel it off. And it's quite satisfying when you can peel off the rice, but...
And you constantly just have that vinegary smell all over your body, and it never comes off.
Delicious.
There was another article this week that was about Snoop Dogg and how he's really good at rolling sushi because of all of his practice rolling blunts. And I was just like, that's fucking baller.
Well, that is quite cool. That is... So the owner of the shop, Long Lin, said he lured them with some fresh premium salmon from his store. That sounds like some sponsored content right there.
That does.
Calling it fresh premium salmon.
Well, I mean, penguins wouldn't want just any old shitty salmon. Penguins are connoisseurs.
He actually tried to give them just the, the standard salmon, and they, gave it a sniff, and they're like, sorry, that's not premium. Is that frozen?
He was like, "Do you want this California roll?" And they were like,
"Oh, please! I don't eat any of that fake crab stick. That's disgusting.
I wouldn't even vomit that into my child's mouth for sustenance. How dare you?"
Oh dear. So he said, "This is the owner's quote. I still can't believe I saw the penguin. I got to hold them. Actually, it was unbelievable." They were trying to come out from underneath the house, and I caught one and put it inside the house. I just didn't want it to run away. And then another one came out, and he was obviously looking for his mate, and I caught it too. The guy was actually trying to bite me. I got a few nips on my chest. Yeah, shit. You're trying to citizens arrest them.
You kidnapped his girlfriend and kept her inside your house. I'd be upset if I was him.
No, does that sound like a citizen's arrest, or does that sound like straight up kidnapping?
It sounds like a kidnapping. If you put them inside... I can't citizens arrest someone and lock them in my apartment. That's not how it works.
Someone just walking by and you grab them and lock them in your apartment. I think that is kidnapping, if I'm honest.
I'm just imagining what this penguin was like when it got inside the house, and it was just like, it's a whole new world.
Yeah, it's like, what is this place? Because penguins don't get to go inside houses that much.
No, and it was like, oh my god, look at all this stuff. There's a Peppa Pig, there's an iPad, there's, what's this? A cat? A baby? I don't know how to deal with all...
it's too much stimuli for the penguins.
I'm just describing my uncle's house that I went to over Christmas.
It's like... What did the first pigeon who accidentally went into a shopping mall think?
The first pigeon who went into a shopping mall thought, what hath these animals wrought upon the world?
Yeah.
This is they must have had a Tower of Babel moment, I think, where they were like, this is what we need to fix them, and that's when they started shitting on people, and the logical
But I feel like pigeons are the capitalists of birds, though, because they would absolutely go wild nutso over consuming food court cuisine.
Okay, I've changed my mind. An 80s new wave song starts playing as the pigeon looks over this capitalist hellscape. It slicks its feathers back across its head, and it thinks, okay, time to go to work. And
exactly.
And, then within 10 years, it's started its own franchise of Burger King, and the pigeon is the manager of Burger King.
And it's underpaying all of its staff.
And it's not
But that's just how it goes.
You know what the really tragic part of it is? The ones who get paid the worst are the other pigeons.
Yeah. It's a depressing reality. Penguins, on the other hand, they may wear suits all the time, but they're absolutely anarchists.
Oh, yeah.
These guys were like reclaiming the sushi spot. They were like squatting there
Squatters'
to try and
rights
like
on the sushi
reclaim it.
restaurant.
Exactly.
People try and do that for houses. I think we should do that for stores and food establishments, because if you manage to do it successfully, then you get to keep all the stuff inside of it. So I'm just gonna go to a David Jones and hide out and hope that they never catch me. And then after however long, I'll be like, I own this place now. Give me all of the stuff and the couches and the TVs.
Yeah, well, I would like to do that with a Kmart, I think.
Okay,
Or a
interesting.
Bunnings Warehouse.
Interesting choice. Why those two?
Because they kind of have everything in there, so I could squat in there for a long time.
I mean, the Bunnings has everything in terms of homewares and, like, screws and hammers.
But
and
they
things.
have, like, sausage sizzles, and I would still expect the sausage sizzles to happen.
Oh, okay. This is even though you've put them out of business because you own the building now.
Yeah, I would still allow the charities to come in and make their sausages.
Oh, okay.
It's Australian culture, Chris.
And
I'm
so
not like
are you selling the contents of the Bunnings, or are people just coming to visit you?
Well, I'm not selling it. I'm kind of giving it for free.
Oh, okay. I
Just
like
to,
this.
So giving away the Bunnings things for free so that the sausage sizzle people come, and there'll be more people with more money to spare.
Okay, I like this. So you're going to give away, anyone can have anything in the store, but only if they can explain to you what they're going to build with it and how they're going to do it in detail.
Exactly.
Like, they have
and I'm
to
sitting there
prove
like,
it.
yeah, it's like like Shark Tank, except I'm not giving them any money. They can just come in and take the goods, but they need to give me a pitch of what they would like to construct. And if it sounds like a cool thing that will benefit society, they can construct that. But they have to buy a sausage on their way out to give back to society as well.
Alison, I think we've just invented, like, city councils. Because that's pretty much what development approvals are.
No, it's a really innovative idea. It's like, you know that pod share thing that was going around for a while? And it's like, wow, this person's just invented a boarding house.
How crazy of them.
How crazy. Because in this pod share model, it's a subscription app model living where you rent out just one bed and you share the kitchen and bathroom with all the other pod sharers who are on the subscription service. And it's like, yeah, this is just like literally a hostel.
Well, that's how that's how the gig economy works.
But it doesn't have an app, so it's not cool.
That's how the gig economy works, though. You take a pre-existing product, you pay someone less to do it, and you make billions of dollars.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's cool. I love it.
It's not ideal.
No.
It's not great.
Where were we? I've completely forgotten. Oh, the penguins thing.
Well, we're talking about penguins that got arrested by some guy who citizens arrested them, and then the police
Some fucking
came.
fascist, some New Zealand fascist, anti-penguin.
No, I'm sure this like sushi guy is awesome, and that's why the penguins came there particularly because they know his sushi.
That's true. He has the good shit.
The fresh premium salmon is what he sells.
He should
in his store.
advertise his food as penguin approved.
Yeah, well, you know what? He should take a photo of the penguin snapping down on the food and then advertise it as penguin approved and be the most viral picture ever.
He should hang it on the wall as one of the special customers that are allowed. They have a usual. They can come back
exactly,
anytime.
the usual. And the penguin's usual is just like a piece of salmon because he doesn't want to accidentally kill penguins by feeding them food that may not be ideal for penguins.
No, I don't know what penguins are and aren't allowed to eat. I can't
There's
imagine
no list
rice
online like for dogs.
No.
So anyway,
They
so
can't
he's
eat
arrested
rice, but unlike dogs, they can eat Tim Tams. It's weird.
So he's arrested the penguins, and the volunteer penguin expert and doctor, penguin expert and doc volunteer Mike
Pexpert.
Rumble. Doc. The penguin expert. Yeah.
But also, he's also
up.
an expert on pecs. He's buff and he's a penguin expert.
Well,
What a
Mike
cool
Rumble.
dude.
Mike Rumble does sound
Holy shit,
like a
Mike
bodybuilder.
Rumble? My God.
That's his name. He definitely sounds like a professional wrestler.
Mike Rumble, the Pexpert. That's incredible.
The penguin expert, the Pexpert Mike Rumble.
Can
He
you
showed
just-
up with his huge muscles.
His huge
and the
muscles-
penguins just immediately We're like, well, we give up, you know.
Can you
this
imagine
Pexpert is here.
this fucking Adonis of a man, muscles bulging out of his tight lab coat, just holding this tiny, adorable penguins against his rock-hard chest. Oh, it's
Jeez,
incredible.
that should be the poster on the sushi shop wall.
Right?
They get a lot of customers to come in.
Get Mike Rumble.
So Mr. Rumble really understands penguins because he's the Pexpert. He said it's described as wishful thinking to hope they might stay in their nesting box on the waterfront. So I just skipped over a bit there, and it was just talking about how these penguins have been relocated to a designated nesting box, which has been provided for them. But Mr. Rumble doesn't think that they're going to stay there. Because
Mr. Rumble's going to take them home to his house to live with them and adopt them as his new family.
Well, as his new sons. Son and or daughter and or son-in-law and son or whatever.
And he's going to teach them how to be huge like him. And then we're going to have an army of monstrous penguins who'll take all the sushi.
Fairy penguins, though. The tiny little ones, monstrous.
Well, that just means that they're dense. They have a lot of muscle in a very small space.
Absolutely. There's not really much else to this story, really. I do like this quote from the
like
ranger.
This guy I went to school with, whose name was Will, he was very short, but he was very buff. He had red hair, but he'd get really angry whenever you said he had red hair, and he'd go, "No, it's not. It's strawberry blonde." And I just think that...
Just own it, buddy.
Own it. It's better if you just say it's red. You've got the muscles to pull it off.
If you just be like, yeah, my hair is red, that people would probably bully you less than if you said your hair was strawberry blonde and insisted on it being called strawberry blonde.
I think strawberry blonde is worse.
Strawberry blonde is kind of a little bit more lame.
Yeah.
Yeah, just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's about all there is to these penguins. So penguins got arrested twice.
That's fucking cool. I've never been arrested. I feel like I'm not doing enough.
I'm not as cool as these penguins.
No, I need to get arrested.
I feel like, you can do... that 90-year-old lady who got arrested for fun because she was dying soon and she wanted to be arrested?
That's cool. That's a cool move.
It's quite a cool move.
We've been making a podcast for a year and I still haven't got arrested. I don't know what we're doing wrong.
Do podcasters often get arrested?
Oh, yeah. Podcasters are just living it up on the edge, the craziest of kids.
Yeah, because we're really delving into the dangerous content, which could get us arrested.
Exactly.
Do you have any other stories, by the way?
Oh, probably. Let me look at what I've got.
I mean, we've only got a few minutes left, really. I don't know how much longer we have left. Can we squeeze in another one?
I think we can squeeze in another one.
Because I do have a lot more stories, but I can save these for next week.
No, I've got one. I've got one that I think is a wonderful capper to this.
Okay, that's good.
So I just found this on Twitter like 2 hours ago. This is from The Sun in the UK.
So this is some fresh content. I love The Sun.
This is some fresh content.
What a classic newspaper.
I'm just going to read the headline and let you react to it as you will. The ghost of a masturbating ape haunts the hallways of the grand country estate in Dorset.
Okay, then.
The ghost of a randy monkey haunts the halls of a grand English country estate, where romantic spook hunters flock to tie the knot.
Why?
I have no fucking idea. The way I know, I don't want to yuck anybody's yums, and everyone can be into what they're into. But I feel like when you're getting married, I feel like you should take it semi-seriously. Ideally, you only do it once. So, like, you don't
want a masturbating ghost monkey present in the ceremony.
That's just not the aesthetic I personally would go for.
Three things you don't necessarily want at your wedding.
No, I think if you can have any one of them and it's acceptable, but when two is like If someone's jerking it, sure, it's funny. If there's a monkey there, oh, how'd the monkey get there? If there's a ghost, well, there's ghosts everywhere, so, like, that's fine.
Yeah, well,
But,
I would
like,
accept a ghost at my non-existent wedding.
If the ghost was jerking it, that's when it starts to become a problem. If the ghost is
And
a
if it
monkey
was a ghost
that's
was a
jerking
monkey, that's a big problem. That's
Yeah,
like
no, I don't
triple
like
threat.
that.
I don't like what I'm hearing.
Titillated tourists can often hear the saucy spectre laughing while masturbating in the Athelhampton Hall in Dorset near Dorchester.
Can I just ask a question? How do these people know that it's the sound of a masturbating monkey? Have these people frequently heard masturbating monkeys to know that that's what it sounds like?
I would hope not, but
I would hope not too.
I'm sure someone's cross-referenced it. Plus, every single time I've gone to the zoo ever that there's been monkeys there, they've been doing something inappropriately sexual when I look.
Well, yeah, I guess it's kind of
Like, one
in their
time I
nature.
saw the monkeys and they were, like, cleaning each other and then they just started 69ing. And I was like, okay, I'm here. This is not what I want out of the day.
Okay, I'm going to go to another exhibit now.
Yeah,
Maybe
you
look
guys
at one of the animals that's sleeping and doing nothing.
Have your private time. So then I went and saw the giraffes, and at first it was normal, and then they started 69ing. It was super weird.
Oh no.
And the spooky venue even has soul-searching couples clamouring to have their weddings held there, in the hope of having the pervy primate appear in the backgrounds of their pictures. The lovable ape's afterlife antics have helped the hall to be named as one of the most haunted houses in England, after being listed on We Buy Any Homes list of the 9 most ghostly properties.
Sorry, We Buy Any Homes?
That's the name of a publication in the UK, I guess.
That's a really good sound. That's a really legit sounding publication.
The 15th century house was originally built by the Martin family, whose crest featured an excited monkey sitting on a tree stump. The estate's motto was, "He who looks at Martin's ape will look at him."
I don't want Martin's ape to look at me.
No, I know what Martin's ape is
I don't want him to look
doing.
anywhere near
I
me.
don't want eye contact with Martin's ape.
Martin's ape should wear a blindfold at all times because I don't want him to look at me.
And ever since, the horny ghost of Martin's monkey has haunted the sprawling country pile, making it a go-to destination for curious phantom fanatics.
Well, what can you say, hey?
One tourist, dad of 3, John Morrison, 41, from Derby, who took his entire family to the estate,
I'm sorry.
spoke excitedly about the spanking spook.
You took your children.
Yes.
Or your...
Well, look, Alison,
You know-
they're going to learn about it at some point. The internet exists.
They didn't want to do the like birds and the bees talk, so they took their
Let's
kids
send
to
them to see a fucking wanking monkey.
a wanking monkey ghost.
Who will
And
then
like,
sit
kids,
them
you
down.
see that?
What if that was a service that Martin's ape offered? Was that he would not only jerk it in front of your children, he would then sit down and explain why he was doing it and like
It's very inappropriate, the whole situation.
the urges that they would one day be having potentially, and that like he would give them the full talk. He'd be like starting
yeah,
to
and
talk
you talk about like safety
and that they'd find like hair in funny places,
and they
that-
talk about consent
Like,
and you
don't-
know how important it is that it should be consensual.
It should be consensual, and if someone starts masturbating in front of you and you don't want that, tell them. So that thing that I did in front of you earlier, not okay. Don't let someone do that again. Now, move on. I'm going to do it to this next family.
Now get out, your time's up. It's the next family's paying.
Time to rewind the clock. And then he closes his eyes.
What is this story?
It's so fucking weird.
What is the Sun newspaper?
I don't know.
The Sun is like the worst, like probably the most. I don't know. The Sun is. It's a publication.
If the Otago Daily Times is the best newspaper in the world, I think we can safely say that the Sun is the worst one.
I'm not even sure if I'm like going to call the Sun a newspaper. It's like.
It's just a book, a piece of paper that has words in it that are sometimes making sense.
Yeah. Why is the UK like the prime hotspot for all of the weird-ass, like, pseudo-newspapers that aren't quite newspapers?
I think it's just because it's cold and wet there all the time
Because
and nobody can give a fuck.
There's also the Express, express.co.uk, which is another, like, very classic website, which has a headline that just popped up in my Google search earlier when I was looking for stories, which is, alien discovery is imminent, claims NASA chief as he eyes up Mars. You know, like, stuff like that, always with a lot of caps in the headline. But people from the UK, can you explain why your country has so many of these weird pseudo-newspapers?
Well, I know why we don't. It's because Rupert has monopolised the newspaper industry. So, like, all we have
well, Rupert doesn't want Randy Monkey and alien stories. It's not really his...
we just hear about how immigrants are bad.
Which isn't ideal. I'd rather have the Randy Monkey stories.
And I think that there's a similar problem in the US, but the UK doesn't seem to have as heavy of a Rupert influence. Forgive me if I'm wrong about that. I probably am. Rupert's ruling the fucking world.
News of the world.
Well, they got in a lot of trouble, so maybe
they did get in a lot of trouble.
Maybe because we haven't had a big Rupert scandal here. That's why we've still got all this Rupert.
That's true. That's true.
We need to do some investigation on Rupert so that we can get our own version of The Sun telling us about masturbating monkeys.
I feel like literally anything could... He's one of those people now that could do literally anything, and I still don't think it would actually end his career.
No,
but that's another story for another time.
He could kill a man on live...
I am quite keen to hear the rest of this monkey story.
He could kill a man on live TV and the Prime Minister would say that there are two sides to every story.
Like, there are two sides to the story.
Honestly, there's not that much more of the monkey story. It's just kind of same old. And then they start describing about the, like, house and start talking about the other...
Yeah,
because humans.
It is sponsored content.
It is. For what it's worth, it looks like quite a nice home. There's lots of, like, pretty dresses and paintings and things inside of it, and also a monkey who's just jerking it so right.
Now, if I had a big country house in England and I was, like, a wealthy landowner and my house was becoming trash because I can't have servants anymore, I would pretend there was a Randy Monkey ghost in my house in order to generate interest to bring their wedding money to my house.
Plus, you need to cover up for the mess that your crazy parties has made. So when people are like, oh, what are those stains on the wall? And you say, the monkey did it.
And they're like, what monkey? Tell us more.
Ghost monkey did it. Ghost monkey came on the wall. Not me. It wasn't me. It was the ghost monkey.
It just escalated, right? Because he was like, someone's like, oh, that's disgusting. Clean up your mess from the wall. He's like, oh, it wasn't me. It was like, well, who was it then? Oh, it was a monkey.
His
like,
fly
I've never
is
seen a monkey
down
in this house.
as he's saying this. Like, he's standing there.
And it's like, if you have a monkey in this house, I'm going to have to call the police because you can't keep a monkey. It's like, well, it's not a live monkey. It's a ghost monkey.
Ghost monkey. 15th century monkey, ghost monkey.
And then
just jerking
it becomes like the steamed ham scenes, and he seems like he's going to not believe it. But then he's like, can I see it?
And then he does see the wanking ghost monkey. And it
turns out there was a ghost monkey there all along.
I think this guy's a medium, and he really should do this professionally.
Yeah, why not?
We've hit the hour mark. Shall we wrap up?
We have hit the hour mark. Yeah, we should wrap up, I think.
Happy birthday to us. Thank you, everybody, for listening. It's very sweet and touching that...
It is quite sweet and touching.
Y'all have been listening for so long.
Can I say a headline at the end of this, if I may?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll do the bits that I say to promote our shit.
Do the bits that you say, and then we're going to do a headline at the end. It's not a pun, but it's just a little thought to leave you guys with from this headline.
This is the first headline of year 2, of the Red Menace.
Yeah.
So follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Red Menace Cast or on Facebook at the Red Menace Podcast. You can buy our sick fucking merch at tpublic.com.
Oh, yeah.
Just search the Red Menace Podcast on there and then buy my stuff. We've made like $16 whole so far. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. Nice work.
So now the budget of this podcast is a slightly lower negative number.
Woohoo.
Alison, I'd like to say thank you for going on this wonderful, to use bachelor lingo, for going on this journey with me.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming on this journey with me too.
You've put up with my constant cussing and inappropriate topics for a year, which I appreciate.
Well, I did bring a fair few interesting stories into the mix too, so
That's
I can't
true.
say I'm entirely innocent.
You give it as good as you get.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's finish up with this final headline of yours. I'm so curious now.
Well, it's just a headline, which I think leaves us with an interesting thought, and it kind of comes back to what we were talking about earlier with the storming Area 51, and this person has posited a question about, this. So this is from the New York magazine, from the magazine called The Cut, and it's in the section, and the question it posits, which we're going to leave you with, is, what if the aliens are hot?
I've played Mass Effect. I know the aliens are hot. That's without question. I have fucked some digital aliens, so I'm on board with this.
You're prepared for if they are.
I've been practicing. All right. Thank you for listening, everybody. Good luck and good night.
Good night.